He kissed her, right there in the kitchen I decorated with love. She stood barefoot in my apron, using my spatula, in the home I almost died trying to return to. And the worst part? My children were laughing in the background, like nothing was wrong. To all my loyal subscribers, thank you for riding this emotional wave with me. If you're new here, don't forget to turn on your notifications, subscribe, and share this channel to help me keep bringing real, heart-wrenching stories that'll keep you up at night. Now, let's begin. My name is Rachel Miller, a 36-year-old mother of two, born and raised in Augusta, Georgia. I'm just a simple woman. A homemaker. A wife to Mark, who I met in college, and mom to our two kids, Lily, age 9, and Jackson, 6. My best friend's name was Jenna Harper. We grew up down the street from each other. We had sleepovers, crushes, fights, and deep talks about getting old together. I thought I could trust her with anything, even with my life. That's why, when I collapsed in the kitchen one chilly morning in March, the first person Mark called after the ambulance was Jenna. It started as a sharp pain in my side. I thought maybe it was food poisoning or something I ate the night before. But when my vision blurred, and I could no longer stand, Mark called 911. The doctors found a ruptured appendix, bad enough that it turned into sepsis. I was in a coma for 3 days. They said I nearly died. Everything after that was a blur, machines beeping, nurses changing IVs, Mark's tired voice reading to me while I drifted in and out. I was in the hospital for 3.5 weeks. And during that time, Jenna moved in. Mark said it was just to help out with the kids. She's been amazing, he told me over the phone. She's doing your chores, helping with dinner, making sure Lily gets to school. At first, I was grateful. I told Jenna how much it meant to me. I'll never forget this, I said. She laughed and said, of course, babe. You're my girl. But something changed when I finally came home. Coming back to a different world. The first thing I noticed was the living room. It smelled like vanilla bean and cinnamon, not the lavender I usually used. The furniture was rearranged. My throw pillows were gone. And Jenna's coat hung on the same hook I always used. Then I saw her. In my apron, standing in my kitchen, flipping pancakes with the same rhythm I used to. She laughed when she saw me and ran over to hug me. You're home, she cried. We missed you. But the hug was too long. Her perfume was too strong. And her hand lingered on my back like she was comforting someone, or hiding guilt. Mark smiled from behind the newspaper. Look who's back, he said, without even getting up. Red flags and quiet warnings. That first night, I slept in our bed. Alone. Mark said he'd gotten used to sleeping on the couch to be near the baby monitor. But Lily and Jackson weren't babies anymore. And the monitor hadn't worked since Christmas. Jenna stayed in the guest room. But her makeup bag was in my bathroom. Her coffee mug was beside Mark's on the table. And Lily slipped once and called her mom during breakfast. Jenna laughed it off. Kids are so silly, she said. I guess I've just been around a lot. Yes. A lot. Whispers behind closed doors. By week 2, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd been replaced. My favorite book was missing from my nightstand. The playlist I made for Mark, gone from his phone. Even my Sunday pancakes? Jenna made those now. When I tried to step back into my role, helping with school drop-off, making dinner, doing laundry, everyone seemed on edge. The kids got quiet. Mark got annoyed. Jenna would say, Rachel, you should rest. Let me handle it. Let her handle my life? A moment I'll never forget. One afternoon, I walked in on them in the kitchen. She was standing too close. He tucked a strand of her hair behind her ear, and she blushed. They didn't see me. Not at first. But the look on Jenna's face when she turned told me everything. Something had happened. And I wasn't crazy. I wasn't being dramatic. I wasn't imagining things. I had lost my place in my own home. Jenna's pink toothbrush sat beside Mark's in the master bathroom. Not the guest bath, my bathroom. The same one I'd shared with Mark since we bought this house 8 years ago. It stared back at me like a warning. Quiet, subtle, but deliberate. I didn't ask. Not yet. Because asking would mean I was suspicious, and I wasn't ready to hear the answer. I was still healing, physically, emotionally. My body was still weak, my steps still slow. I kept telling myself, they're just trying to help. You were gone for a while. Maybe things just shifted temporarily. But Jenna was too comfortable. She poured Mark's coffee just how he liked it, 2 creams, 1 sugar, a dash of cinnamon. She remembered details only I ever knew. She wore his old sweatshirt one morning, the gray one with the college logo faded across the chest. I found her curled up with him and the kids on the couch during movie night, her legs tucked under his, her head on his shoulder. And I just stood there, like a guest in my own living room. In the mirror, I didn't recognize myself. My skin was pale, my hair thinner, and my body weaker. I had scars on my stomach, proof of the surgery that saved me, but also of the time I lost. Time I could never get back. Jenna had gained something during that time, my rhythm, my spot, my family. She laughed louder now. Wore new clothes. Took up space that used to be mine. And Mark? He was different too. Softer with her. Sharper with me. Don't start, he said one morning, when I asked why Jenna was still here. She helped us. The least we can do is let her finish the school year with Lily. She's been a godsend. I nodded. But inside, I was screaming. Jackson slipped again and called her mommy when he tripped on the porch step. Lily drew a picture of our family in school and handed it to me with pride. It showed 4 people, Mark, Jenna, herself, and Jackson. I wasn't in the picture. When I asked her about it, she said, "You were in the hospital. Jenna said you were sleeping." Sleeping? For 3 weeks? Had they told my daughter I was just napping while Jenna stepped into my world? I didn't sleep that night. It was late when Mark left his phone on the kitchen counter. He was upstairs helping Lily with her science project, and Jenna was running errands. I had just come down for some tea when the screen lit up with a message. It was from her. "Miss your arms already. Don't let her pull you back in." My heart stopped. I didn't touch the phone. I didn't need to. The truth was loud and blinding and right in front of me. Jenna hadn't just been filling in. She had taken my place. When Mark came back down, I asked him, calmly, "Do you love her?" He blinked, taken off guard. "What?" "I saw the text," I said. He didn't deny it. He just looked down, ran a hand through his hair, and said, "I didn't mean for it to happen." That's when the silence between us became permanent. Because some betrayals don't need screaming. Some don't need punches or broken dishes. Some just sink in quietly, like poison in a wound that never healed right. Jenna came back like nothing was wrong. That night, she waltzed in with a bag of groceries, smiling like we were still 17 and having sleepovers. "I picked up your favorite tea," she said, placing it on the counter like it made up for everything. I looked at her and whispered, "You stole my life while I was fighting for it." Her smile faltered, but only for a second. "I didn't steal anything," she said. "You gave it up when you got sick." That's when I knew. There was no remorse. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just nodded, and started planning. Because if they could steal everything from me in 3 weeks, I could take it back in 3 steps. And step 1 was already in motion. No one suspected anything. Not yet. That's the thing about betrayal, it teaches you silence. Patience. Strategy. I stopped confronting. I stopped asking questions. I smiled when Jenna made breakfast. I laughed at Mark's dry jokes again. I started brushing Lily's hair before school, packing Jackson's lunch with those extra apple slices he liked. I started being present, even when I felt like a ghost in my own home. Because while they thought I was shrinking, I was watching, closely. They had gotten too comfortable. And people who get too comfortable? They slip. The first slip. It happened one Saturday. Jenna and Mark thought I was asleep upstairs. I wasn't. I'd learned to move quietly again, slow steps, careful breathing. I caught them in the garage. She leaned against the workbench, giggling. He leaned in too close. I couldn't hear every word, but I saw her touch his chest and him brush a strand of her hair from her face. And that was the first time I didn't feel pain. I felt power. Because now I had proof. Step 1, the paper trail. I reached out to a lawyer I knew. Quietly. Discreetly. I'm not filing yet, I told her. But I need to know what happens if I do. She walked me through it. The house. Custody. Finances. I had rights. Strong ones. And Mark? He'd messed up too publicly. If this went to court, the evidence I had, the texts, the garage camera footage I'd secretly reactivated, could ruin him. But I wasn't ready to end it just yet. First, I wanted them to feel what I felt. Every ounce of humiliation. Every crack in the mirror. Step 2, turning the tables. I started slipping into conversations with Jenna. You know, it's funny, I said one morning, sipping coffee. Sometimes I feel like someone else was living my life while I was gone. She paused, her mug halfway to her lips. I mean, I smiled, the way the kids talk about you, the way you know where everything is, it's like you were me. She didn't say anything at first. Then she offered a soft laugh. I was just helping. Sure, I said. Helping yourself. Step 3, the dinner party. I planned it like a stage performance. Close friends, neighbors, a few co-workers from Mark's office. A small dinner at our house to celebrate recovery. Mark was proud, of course. Jenna helped with the table settings like she belonged there. And I wore red. Not just any red, a silk dress, low back, with lipstick to match. My hair done, perfume light but sharp. I looked like the woman I used to be, before the hospital. Mark's eyes followed me all night. Jenna noticed. Oh, she definitely noticed. That was the first crack in their mirror. Later that night, after everyone left, Mark pulled me aside. His voice was low. Nervous. You look different, he said. Alive? I asked. He nodded. Yeah. That. I leaned in, just close enough. Maybe you forgot what I look like when I'm not half dead. He blinked. Then I walked away. Let him stew. What Jenna didn't know. I had spoken to her old boyfriend. The one she left after cheating on him. He told me everything, how she did this once before. Moved in during a crisis, played the hero, stole the man, burned it all down, and walked away without looking back. She was a pattern. And now? I was the one putting the pieces together. By the end of that week, she started to unravel. Snapping at the kids. Getting tense when Mark was quiet. Losing her smile at the breakfast table. And Mark? He was pulling away. Because guilt is a funny thing. It doesn't scream. It whispers, in the silence, in the space between glances. He started noticing me again. Too late. But that was part of the plan. It started like a normal morning. The sun broke through the curtains. The smell of coffee filled the kitchen. Kids' shoes were scattered by the front door. It looked like peace, like routine. But peace is often a lie that covers something broken. That morning, the lie broke open. It was just one question. Did you wear my necklace, Jenna? I asked it casually, my tone light, as I pointed to the delicate gold chain around her neck, the one Mark gave me on our 10th anniversary. Her hand flew to it. Oh. I thought it was yours, she said, then quickly corrected herself. I mean, I found it in the laundry room and thought it was mine. You've never had that necklace, I replied with a calm smile. But thank you for confirming it was in the laundry room. Mark looked up from his phone. His eyes met mine. That's when the tension broke the air. It all came crashing down. Later that day, I confronted them both, together. I know, I said simply. About the two of you. The garage. The texts. All of it. They froze. Jenna paled. Mark dropped the glass he was holding. It shattered, but not louder than the silence that followed. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I laid out the evidence. I listed the dates. I quoted the messages. I showed them the camera footage. You were supposed to be my friend, I said to Jenna. I trusted you with my kids, my home, my husband. And while I was learning to walk again, you were in my bed. She tried to speak, but no words came. Mark tried to explain. It didn't mean anything, he said. I thought you were never coming back to yourself. You were so weak. I cut him off. And that gave you permission to replace me? He looked down. He had no answer. Just guilt in every inch of his body. Jenna stood there, arms crossed tightly, like she was trying to keep from falling apart. We didn't mean for it to happen. That's the problem, I said. It didn't just happen. It happened again and again. Well, I trusted both of you. Now my decision is final. I told Jenna to pack her things that night. You came here to help, I said. Now you're leaving with nothing. She didn't argue. She knew I had every right. She grabbed her suitcase, avoided the kids' eyes, and walked out without saying goodbye. Mark watched her leave in silence. His betrayal hung heavy in the room. Then he turned to me, tears filling his eyes. I'll do anything to fix this. I know you would, I said. But that's not your choice anymore. The kids knew something was wrong. Jackson asked that night, is Miss Jenna not coming back? No, baby, I said, brushing his hair back. She's not. Why? I hesitated. Because sometimes people break promises. And when they do, we have to protect our hearts. Ava didn't say anything. But I saw it in her eyes, she understood more than she let on. He slept on the couch. Not that I cared. I barely looked at him anymore. He kept trying, small things. Dishes. Flowers. Even cooked one night, but I didn't touch the food. Trust wasn't something he could buy back. Not with chores. Not with apologies. Not with desperate looks. He broke something sacred. And I wasn't sure it could ever be rebuilt. My lawyer called. Ready to file? She asked. I stared out the window, thinking about the life I almost died trying to return to, only to find it taken from me by the two people who were supposed to love and protect me. I'm not sure yet, I said. But I will be. And then? One evening, I found a letter under my pillow. It was from Ava. I know you were sad, Mommy. But I'm happy you're strong again. You smile now. I like when you smile. That's when I knew. This story wasn't about Mark. Or Jenna. It was about me. What I'd survive. What I'd become. The house was quieter than it used to be. Not because people had left, but because something had left, the invisible thread that once held everything together. Trust. Innocence. Love, maybe. Or at least the version of it I believed in. The letter that changed me. After finding Ava's letter, something shifted. I sat on the edge of my bed, holding her words like a fragile treasure. I like when you smile. It had been so long since I smiled from a place of peace. Not out of politeness. Not to hide the pain. but a real, soul-deep smile. That night, I stood in front of the mirror. The woman looking back wasn't the same one who left for the hospital months ago. That woman was hopeful, maybe even a little naive. The woman in the mirror now? She was stronger. Mark was still trying. He brought me breakfast the next morning. Sat across from me like he didn't know if he had the right to be there. I know I broke us, he said quietly. But I haven't stopped loving you. I looked at him. The man I had once dreamed of growing old with. I believe you loved me, I replied. But you didn't protect me when I needed it most. You replaced me. While I was learning to walk again, you gave my seat away. He had no words. Just that same haunted look. Jenna was gone, but not forgotten. Small things still reminded me of her. The way she folded the laundry. The scent of her shampoo left behind. The memory of our laughter in the kitchen. How could she? That question kept echoing. Not from bitterness anymore, but sadness. She had access to my life. My secrets. My children. And she threw it all away for a few stolen moments in the dark. I thought about forgiveness. But forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation. I could forgive, for my own healing. But forgetting? Trusting again? That was another story. I started therapy. Not just for the pain, but for the process. I needed to understand why I kept giving so much of myself to people who didn't deserve it. The divorce papers sat in my drawer. For weeks, I didn't touch them. I watched Mark interact with the kids. Saw him try to repair what he could. He stopped begging and started listening. And that meant something. But one night, I found myself staring at the drawer again. Not out of anger. Not out of revenge. Out of clarity. I opened it. Took out the papers. And I signed them. The goodbye was quiet. We sat at the kitchen table. The same table where we shared so many dinners, where I once whispered that I loved him under soft lighting. I'm not doing this to punish you, I said. I'm doing this because I finally know my worth. Tears slid down his face. I understand. And in that moment, I believed he did. Life moved forward. I found a small house not far away, something cozy for me and the kids. We painted the walls ourselves. Burned cinnamon candles. Started new routines. Ava danced in the living room. Jackson planted flowers with me on weekends. And every time they laughed, I knew I made the right choice. People whispered. They looked so perfect, someone said in line at the grocery store. She must not have been enough, another woman whispered behind me at church. But I stopped caring about what people thought. They didn't see the nights I cried myself to sleep. They didn't see the hospital bed. The betrayal. The healing. They didn't know the full story. I wasn't just the woman who lost her husband and her best friend. I was the woman who reclaimed her life. One step at a time. One choice at a time. And even though my heart had been broken, it still beat with hope. Because healing isn't loud. Sometimes, it looks like sitting in your new kitchen, sipping tea, with your kids laughing in the next room, and finally breathing again.